working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands. We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges. We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Good evening, I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching ASEAN in Focus on tonight's program. A Philippine fuel tanker partially sank in the country's waters, according to authorities, as they tried to contain a diesel spill, stretching several kilometers. President Marcos Jr. has announced that his administration would introduce the use of biofertilizers to farmers to reduce their dependence on expensive and imported petroleum-based fertilizers. And make your way to Central World on your Model Y, because that's where Bangkok's first Tesla supercharger station is at. And later, our ASEAN correspondent Raymar Gutierrez takes us to Kota Kinabalu, where he explores a marine conservation area in Sabah. First in our news, a Philippine fuel tanker partially sank in the country's waters, according to authorities, as they tried to contain a diesel spill stretching several kilometers. Take a look. Now, the Princess Empress was carrying 800,000 liters of industrial fuel oil from Bataan province near the capital Manila to the central province of Iloilo when its engine overheated, according to the Philippine Coast Guard. An initial investigation showed the distressed vessel drifted towards waters of Balingawan Point on Mindoro Island due to rough sea conditions until it became half submerged. The Coast Guard said it was monitoring a spill of diesel fuel which had been powering the vessel, but had not found in the sea any industrial fuel oil from the ship's cargo. Another vessel rescued the 20 crew members on board. The Coast Guard said they were in good physical condition. In a separate update, the Coast Guard said the spill detected near the stricken vessel was now 5 kilometers or 3 miles long and 500 meters wide. An oil spill boom would be installed to control the spillage. In other news, President Marcos Jr. has announced that his administration would introduce the use of biofertilizers to farmers to reduce their dependence on expensive and imported petroleum-based fertilizers. Now, this developed after he presided over a sectoral meeting with the Department of Agriculture and other concerned agencies at the Malacanang Palace in Manila. Take a look.
Yes, because it was brought to the fore, not only the price of fertilizer but also the availability of fertilizer. So, ang dependence kasi natin is yung non-organic, essentially urea, yung petroleum-based. Kaya pinag-aralan ng DA kung nag-trials na kami, the biofertilizer, which can be produced locally here in the Philippines. Now, the tests that have come back, maganda naman. Although may slight increase sa yield, merong yung cost medyo pwedeng pang i-adjust na pababa, especially kung ma-produce na yan dito sa Pilipinas. Kayang-kaya daw dito i-produce sa Pilipinas yan. And furthermore, there are many technologies from UPLB, from the other SUCs, the agricultural colleges. Marami silang na research, na develop, na technologies yan sa biofertilizer.
Fertilizers or natural fertilizers consisting, or biofertilizers are natural fertilizers consisting of living microorganisms, and its use supports the growth of plants by increasing the nutrient supply in soils. President Marcos said biofertilizers would be used as an alternative because of the high price of common fertilizers and concerns on their availability. To recall, President Marcos' state visit to China in January led to the signing of business agreements with Chinese producers to reduce the prices of fertilizer, a vital part of his administration's bid to help farmers and ensure food security. Two Chinese fertilizer manufacturing firms already signed a cooperation agreement with the Philippine International Trading Corp, which was seen to ensure a sustainable supply of fertilizers at reasonable prices. Meanwhile, the government is now pushing for the construction of more dams nationwide and the modernization of the local fishing industry as part of its proposed comprehensive initiatives to boost local food production. To boost farmers' earning, NIA Chief Eduardo Guillen said they recommended the expansion of irrigation services with the construction of additional dam projects. Take a look.
Ko lang kung mag-invest ang gobyerno natin ng worth 200 billion na project sa ating mga dams per year. Sa 6 na taon na pamumuno ng ating Pangulo ay malaki ang pagbabago ng agricultural landscape natin. Again, hindi lamang food security ang kanyang sinosolve dito. Sabi ko nga, hitting multiple birds with one stone ito eh. So, pagdating sa tinatawag din ng economic internal rate of return or yung benefit of the people return, wala akong duda na kapag dam ang ginagawa mo ay malaki ang pakinabang ng mga tao. So isipin po ninyo, dati ang public works, ang construction lang nila is mga dikes. Ano po? At ang laki ng project ng budget ng public works sa flood control, di ho ba? Now, sa amin kasi sa NIA, marami kami nakahandang projects. Meron na itong mga FS na tinatawag, meron ng detail engineering, pero yung budget nga lang ang problema ho natin. Pero kung ngayon, makipagtulungan ng public works sa amin, bigyan namin sa kanila yung plano, magtulungan kami for implementation. Anyway, itong mga dams are flood control projects. Ang maganda po sa mga dams, hindi lamang siya pang-irigasyon. Pwede ring power source yan eh. And of course, flood control project, hindi lang yon, pang-aquaculture, pang-tourism. Yung sa dam mismo, pwede mo nilagyan ng mga solar panels. Dati ho kasi, ang problema sa NIA, yung tinatawag nilang paralysis due to analysis ba? Masyadong matagal yung mga feasibility studies. Kasi noon, hindi ho tayo Free Irrigation Act pa eh. So dapat pag-aralan talaga nila kung yung bang project na yon ay mababawi yung investment. Eh ngayon, dahil free irrigation naman na tayo, hindi, ang ano na lang ngayon, ang tinitingnan naming mabuti, meron bang source of water? At meron ka bang papatubigan? At wala ba itong problema sa tao?
Mr. Guillen said they're now also considering organizing irrigators into cooperative associations per town to boost their efficiency. And these were discussed during the meeting of President Marcos with the Department of Agriculture officials for their proposed National Food Security Convergence Program. Meanwhile, President Marcos also said that also part of the government's food security measures is providing for the necessary infrastructure and facilities for the fishing sector. Take a look.
Still a crisis, still the fisheries production. So we have started to formulate a plan to improve the fishing grounds for our aquaculture that is inland, in our rivers and the freshwater. Although we have a good supply of tilapia and bangus, although tinitignan kasi ang galunggong, pero ang katotohanan, marami pa tayong ibang production. Now, kulang pa rin ang production natin sa fisheries, kaya kailangan natin tignan pati yung tinatawag na mariculture, yung mga isda na nasa dagat. So that is basically what we were discussing and putting together. Also, we were already starting to give the tasking to the different agencies like DTI, like the DBP, Land Bank, the CDA, the Cooperative Development Authority, all of those who have to be involved, even the agrarian reform secretary was there with us. So all of the different agencies, binibigyan na namin ng tasking kung ano yung kailangan nilang gawin para mabuo namin yung plano para sa agrikultura. And our focus for now will be fisheries para makapag-improve tayo. Now, the benefit of that is that it's mabilis ang cycle sa isda. But we have to put the infrastructure in place. We have to put the facilities in place. So yun ang una namin gagawin para to increase ating production ng isda.
In tonight's other news, Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Energy, David Turk, discussed plans to foster the transition to clean energy in a Foreign Press Center briefing on the energy impact a year after Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Citing the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, Mr. Turk said the world is in a transition to clean energy. Take a look.
There is no doubt in my mind, and I've studied energy for many, many years, we are in the midst of a clean energy transition, a global clean energy transition. And there's also no doubt that we need to accelerate that further, certainly to achieve our climate objectives that we've all laid out to, we've all agreed at the Paris Agreement in order to be successful along those lines. And we don't need to just accelerate a little bit. If you look at the numbers and where we need to go, we need to accelerate dramatically, pace and scale all around the world as well. But I think we can get a huge amount of economic benefit, energy security benefit, affordability benefit if we do it right and we do it aggressively and really lean in on that front. 2022, I think, will go down as a very pivotal year, including for the global clean energy transition. And I think what you saw in 2022 is a lot of countries leaned in on their global clean energy transition, not only because they want to be responsible countries to achieve the climate objective we all share, but a lot of countries are seeing the economic security and the affordability benefits of leaning in on the clean energy side of things. So what we saw is a dramatic increase in some of the numbers in Europe and other countries around the world, not just in terms of deployment that happened in 2022, but decisions, policy decisions, other decisions, business decisions that we'll see the benefit of in 2023 and 2024 and 2025. So one nugget there for you is colleagues at the International Energy Agency had to increase their estimate of global installation of PVs around the world by 30% from their estimate that just came out a few months ago from where they were a year ago. So that's taking into account all of the different changes that happened in 2022, again, because energy security benefits from solar PV, from actually having PV installed in your country. It's not like a dictator can come from a nearby country and put a big solar shield over your country if you got PV built out or wind turbines built out or solar or battery storage or hydrogen built out along those lines. So we saw an estimate of a 30% increase just from a year time period with all those additional data points. That just gives you an example of the transition accelerating.
Ranking officials of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and other government agencies welcome the 82 members of the Philippine Interagency Humanitarian Contingent, or PIHC, who safely returned home Tuesday night after their mission from the earthquake-ravaged Turkey. National Disaster Risk and Management Council Chair and Department of National Defense Officer in Charge, Undersecretary Carlito Galvez Jr., Office of Civil Defense Administrator Undersecretary Ariel Nepomuceno, AFP Chief of Staff General Andres Centino, and Turkish Ambassador to Manila Niyazi Eren Aykol were among those who welcomed the contingent upon arrival at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, Terminal 3. The contingent's Urban Search and Rescue, or USAR team, conducted retrieval and assessment missions in the southeastern city of Adiyaman for more than 2 weeks. The USAR team concluded its activities on February 24 and then prepared for demobilization the following day. During their deployment, they assessed 36 buildings, retrieved 6 cadavers for the whole duration of their search and retrieval operations. In addition, the Philippine Emergency Medical Assistance Team provided aid to 1,022 ambulatory cases and referrals of cases requiring hospitalization. The National Weather Service measured 1.8 inches of snowfall In Central Park, the first time more than an inch had been recorded there all season. Take a look. Story beyond the region, New York usually gets blanketed white at least a couple of times each winter, but unusually mild temperatures have led to a largely snow-free season this year. The flakes, which began Monday evening, brought the seasonal total in Manhattan's famous green lung to just 2.2 inches. It didn't hang around long, however. By mid-morning, most of the snow had already turned to slush as rain took over. Several school districts closed on Tuesday as the city geared up for its first substantial snowfall of the season. The New York City government's Emergency Management Office also issued a travel advisory from 6 p.m. Monday to 1 p.m. Tuesday, U.S. time. New York tends to get its first serious dusting of snow around mid-December. Last season, it arrived on the eve of December 24th. This year, it arrived only on February 1st, when nearly half an inch was recorded in Central Park. It was the latest first snowfall since records began in 1869. And tonight, Southern News, the Philippines captured 3 gold, 2 bronze medals in the 14th Asian Lawn Bowls Championships, which ended on February 26 at the Perak Lawn Bowls Arena in Ipoh, Malaysia. Now, the Filipinos won 3 golds courtesy of Rodel Labayo and Elmer Abayato men's pairs, Ronald Lissing, Leoncio Carrion Jr. and Homer Mercado men's triples, and Marisa Baronda and Rosita Bradbourne on the women's pairs. Baronda also got a bronze medal in the singles event, while the other bronze medal came from Abayato, Lissing, Carrion, and Mercado in the men's fours event. The former president of Philippine Lawn Bowls Association, or PLBA, said the team is regularly training at the Clark Global City in Pampanga, the same venue of the 2019 SEA Games. Now make your way to Central World on your Model Y, because that's where Bangkok's first Tesla supercharger station is found. Take a look. Thailand has recently been pushing the use of electric vehicles. The arrival of Tesla on the Kingdom shores last year brought one of the most well-known EVs to Bangkok streets. However, a concern that people had was the lack of chargers for EVs. During the launch, the company promised to start establishing superchargers in the city by the start of this year. Tesla's very first supercharger station in the city is located in Central World, and the station has 9 superchargers available 24/7. The supercharger station's arrival coincides with the arrival of the first Tesla orders to Thailand. With the arrival of the Tesla supercharger station, it does seem that the city is well on its way to being an electric vehicle-friendly city. And now let's go over to our correspondent, Raymond Gutierrez, as he explores a marine conservation area in Sabah.
Join me as I visit Kota Kinabalu in Sabah, Malaysia.
Sabah, Malaysia is a state of Malaysia located a few kilometers from the southern end of the Philippines. Its capital, Kota Kinabalu, is just a short flight from Manila. Apart from its flora and fauna, Sabah is also famous for its beautiful beaches and bountiful oceans filled with exotic marine life. Recently, we have visited the Borneo Reef, Southeast Asia's largest pontoon or man-made island located in Tunku Abdul Rahman National Park or TARP. This island can be reached by a 15-minute boat ride from Jesselton Port in the mainland Kota Kinabalu.
We launched in the year 2020, and we are proud to say the JSK pontoon is now officially the largest pontoon in Southeast Asia. Okay, measuring at a length of 35.5 meters, the width of 25.5 meters, and we are standing at a height of 12 meters.
Upon arrival, you will be greeted by the cold sea breeze that complements the grandeur of the ocean. Activities await as you step in the pontoon. Kayaking, inflatable obstacle course, and helmet diving, to name a few. But if you are afraid of getting wet, there's also an underwater observatory where you can enjoy the fishes without leaving the pontoon. What's more is we have been visited by a long-tailed macaque monkey who swam from the nearby island, adding attraction to the guests. Taking care of this structure is no easy task, especially during stormy weather.
We are supported by 4 main chain anchors. Okay. Fortunately, during the storm itself, the only damage it happened was to the inflatable water park.
Hi everyone! Let's go to KK, Kota Kinabalu!
Another hidden gem of Sabah is the Mantanani Island, in which you will need to travel by van for 2 hours from the mainland to the town of Kota Belud, and then another 45-minute boat ride to reach the island. The entire journey is tiring, but upon reaching the island, the tranquil beauty will refresh your senses. First activity is snorkeling from 2 of the island's diving spots. Second is the island hopping, where you will see its natural cave formations. And lastly, a visit to the sand dunes called the Dragon's Tail, as the sand moves like a tail due to the winds. The natural beauty of these places will not last if we don't take care of it. Even a small action can cause a big outcome.
We do not encourage guests to feed the sea creatures, and of course definitely no physical contact. We're sending a message that just like us humans, we always allow a certain angle so that marine life can flourish in their natural habitat.
They cannot step on the corals, or maybe taking out all the sea marines, everything, whatever it is inside the water, they cannot bring it up. They only can see.
Reporting from Sabah, Malaysia, this is Raymond Gutierrez reminding you to stay alert because we live in extraordinary times.
Jom jalan-jalan di Kota Kinabalu.
Thanks, Raymond. And as my usual habit, I'd like to end the day on a positive note. Let's encourage and build each other up so that no one is left behind. And that's it for tonight's broadcast of ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angeles, reminding you to stay alert, stay in the news, because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.